So ladies and gentlemen, if you look at culture like Sabrina Carpenter, like many artists today, you'll be horrified of what you see, an over-sexualization of people's bodies, both men and women. And to say the least, we have a very toxic mainstream music sphere in the world, especially in the UK. There is Raye, who recently dropped an album all about hope, all about God, all about Jesus. And this is a Christian channel, so I had to speak about it because I think the message she is perpetuating is beautiful, it's wholesome, it's godly, and it's amazing to see somebody with this type of message really breaking the mainstream, but in a genuine, honest, authentic way. But not only that, she does it in a radical, majestic, unorthodox way that I think should be applauded massively. And I want to share a bit of what she has to say today. So there's this song she made called I Know You're Hurting, and the lyrics are just beautiful. Like, here's the chorus, right? I know you're hurting, that deep down there's something burning, I know. If you need 2 more arms to hold these burdens, I am here. I said a prayer for you, I hope it's working. Please, my dear, don't stop believing in miracles. I mean, what a just beautiful chorus. And when she plays this live, she often cries. She's really speaking from her heart. She's lost friends because of how their mental state was. Is very, very sad. She's suffered with a bit of body dysmorphia. She speaks a lot about that. And she just has a beautiful message. And it's so easy to be pessimistic in this world and be like, oh, everything's dreadful, our culture and all this. But she is representing a beacon of light in pop culture. And I think we must applaud her massively because, the phrase, preach the gospel, use words if you have to. Well, she's preaching the gospel and she is using words, but in a very different type of way. So I just want to show you a little bit from a live performance of her singing I Know You're Hurting.
But I know you're hurting. And deep down there something's burning. If you need 2 more arms to hold these burdens, I said a prayer for you, I hope it's working. Please, my dear, don't stop believing in miracles.
So I think that is just, not only are the lyrics great, she obviously is a fantastic singer. She's got a whole band. And can I also just make the point, in our culture that speaks about, the prime is being a strong, independent woman, not dependent on anyone, or for a man, being independent, you don't need women, you can do it all alone. Women are, on both sides of the sexes. The message she has is depend on people. That's not a bad thing. Community, radical stuff. The epitome of being a good human being is not being alone and not dependent on anybody. And that's what our culture perpetuates, let yourself go a bit, but make sure you're not too dependent on anyone. And her view is no, give yourself to me, give yourself to God, open your heart up, I know you're hurting. Here's 2 arms to hold you. She speaks about her friends who are girls when she's going through a horrible time, being there for her. And this message, it seems so basic. Just don't, being independent is not the epitome of life. Yet in our culture, this is actually pretty radical stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And here's another song which I think is just really, really sweet. It's called Goodbye Henry. Now, often you see breakup songs, you see, songs about 2 people parting as almost always so toxic. Either it's a man speaking about a woman being a nutter, or it's a woman speaking about a man being a nutter. They're narcissistic, they're toxic, they only care about themselves, they're selfish. The list goes on and on and on and on. And this is called Goodbye Henry. And instead of saying like, oh, they're the worst person ever, she uplifts him. She doesn't even mention his name. She changes the name. And she basically is sad that it didn't work out. And she's clearly hurting. She clearly still has feelings for him. But instead of drowning in this toxic mosh pit that is always perpetuated in mainstream music, what does she speak about? She honors him. She shows love. She's sad it didn't work out. And the lyrics are just so beautiful. And again, it's such a basic message. You break up with a bloke, you love him. I'm sure he did loads of things wrong and etc. And I'm sure she did things wrong. But instead of, drowning in the worst things, she actually uplifts him. And what a just great person to actually do that. To actually not view somebody as like scum of the earth once they're gone, because it hurts when you're vulnerable with someone, when you give yourself to somebody and they rip that apart and you're no longer together. And it's so easy to be like, well, they were like this, they were like that, I was there for them like this. But no, she doesn't do that. And we must applaud people like that, because this is the type of message young people should be listening to. This is the type of uplifting, wholesome, beautiful thing that we must hold on to in life, I think. And don't get me wrong, there is a time and place where people do really are terrible to each other, where they do abuse, where they do, walk out in a marriage and stuff. And I'm not saying there's not a place to be angry. There 100% is. But if it's, a breakup and it didn't work out, and it genuinely didn't work out for that, they weren't compatible, or one of them didn't feel right, then fair enough. But this is just her playing it live, and I think it's quite beautiful.
This is a sad song, though it feels happy. It is not happy at all. In fact, it makes me so sad to sing this song. But I'm gonna sing it for you anyway. This song is called Goodbye, Henry. And I wrote about a boy, a very lovely boy. And his name isn't even Henry, but I'm just trying to be respectful. And we don't talk anymore. He could be next door, I wouldn't even know. In another life we could have made it, but in this one, well, we let go. And I remember last time I seen him, it was a devastating day at the railway tavern, my local, and he had no words to say. So I sipped my gin in silence and I kissed the man goodbye. And we dried each other's tears, and I told him, Henry, oh, I wish you only love and happiness. And I'm swallowing tears as I'm watching you drive away through my window. I don't want you to go. How could I, baby? Oh, I do hope you'll try your best and you'll drink a little less. And who knows, Henry, maybe one day we could try again. Don't forget me, I regret me. I tell her goodbye, Henry. I told you this was a sad song. I did try to warn you, in case you relate, in case your sorry heart is also breaking, in case you're driving to work and every bloody left turn you take just so happens to be down memory lane. And it's that pain, the aching kind, that I hoped for me and Henry. I really did. In another life I'd wear his ring and we'd have 3 beautiful children. And it hurts to never see him, but the world still turns around. So I squeezed his lovely hand so tight and I told him, oh, I wish you only love and happiness. And I'm swallowing tears as I'm watching you drive away through my window. I don't want you to go. How could I be?
Hear the lyrics say, I wish you the best, swallowing tears. Hopefully, maybe we could try, sometime another day. We could have had 3 beautiful children. She's clearly heartbroken there, but not drowning in that filth, not doing what Jesus so clearly speaks about in the gospel message, as I've made a video on about Judas of Iscariot. How do you deal with that sadness? Do you drown in that? Do you wallow in that and do what Judas ended up doing after he betrayed Jesus? Or you do what Peter did, be the bedrock of the church, being the most incredible evangelist ever post that, and beg for forgiveness, beg for redemption, the redemption arc, like being lost and found. You look at the Old Testament, Leviticus and it all, the constant arc of what it speaks about in the Bible, lost and found, broken, rebuilt, broken, rebuilt. That's just such a beautiful message. And another reason I actually love Raye so much is, if, in our culture, especially with women, there's so much horrible body pressure. You look at people, may that be, just girls not eating and all this. And there's so much pressure for girls to look a certain way. So much of a woman's worth these days is how she looks, the fact that we're in 2026 and we're still in a place. Now, don't get where we value people and how they look. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's super important to be, attracted to the person you're into. You want to make beautiful love. You want to, have a romantic, exotic relationship. Don't get me wrong. but the worth we show to people really, really matters. And the amount of blokes I know, and don't get me wrong, I'm no saint either, but the amount of times I'll be out and there'll be some beautiful women or whatever in our group or wherever we are, and the way they treat them, they'll be clinging to them, or they'll, buy them a drink and all this, and not even like, or like even just giving a seat or being a gentleman and stuff. And then there'll be some woman who in our culture isn't stereotypically attractive, right? It's beautiful in loads of ways, maybe not how mainstream culture views beauty, and just a complete difference of treatment. And I think it's dreadful because it's that's somebody's daughter, and if that bloke had a daughter when he was older, imagine he had a man treating his daughter completely different because of what, how she looks. I mean, that's just bonkers. And the amount of pressure for women there is to see how they look, like the amount of women I speak to, and they're worried about, they haven't even had kids, they're not even married, right? And they're worried about when they get older, have kids, that their husband won't find them attractive anymore, or maybe they'll put on weight or whatever. And it's just crazy we're in a place where that happens. And don't get me wrong, there is women objectifying men as well, where there's women who speak about the way a man's looks and like, I wouldn't do that unless he's 6 foot whatever, or he looks like this, or he has this much money. There's definitely the opposite going on with, like, if you look at Sabrina Carpenter and stuff, I don't like the way she objectifies men, the way I see loads of women actually objectify men, and the way it makes me feel uncomfortable, to be honest. Maybe that's my own insecurity, I'm sure it is, but I don't want men to objectify women the same way, because I see how uncomfortable it is, and the comparison arc and all that. And I don't want myself to objectify women and all that, because I wouldn't want them to treat me like that. And in our culture, it's so toxic. You got the whole, like, the feminism sphere, Call Her Daddy podcast, and then you got the whole red pill Andrew Tate sphere, and it's just so toxic. Both are coming from a horrible angle of objectification, of commodifying people's bodies and who people are as sovereign human individuals. And Raye's music instead, I think, is great, because at a gig she speaks about, struggling with how she looks and all that. And she is, she's an extremely beautiful woman, just like loads of singers and stuff. But it's so sad that she really doesn't like herself and the way she looks. And the point I was making before I go on a billion rants is, if you look at this live performance she has, the plethora of different women around her, of all different body shapes, of all different looks, one of them's completely bold, who's looks a little bit bigger than the others. You got others that are skinnier, you got others that are different race. All this, just the diversity of people is such a basic point. But again, in our culture, what do we see when we see singers? We see, super sexualized women. One, they're almost wearing nothing almost always. Second of all, they got the most stereotypical perfect body ever, which means a bunch of girls growing up, they see, these artists with the most quote unquote perfect bodies ever. And then if they're not like that, they think they're somehow. But Raye instead just has a plethora of different people, and I just absolutely love that. I think it's amazing. But this is a song called Joy, which again, lovely, lovely, wholesome, good lyrics. It's all about, you might feel dreadful now, but there will be joy. There will be joy one day, let's hope. And some of the lyrics, I declare, I decree, Mr. Raye, are you somebody? Any chain that's been holding me, Mr. Raye, are you somebody? An evil whisper in my ears, I say, I rebuke you. You must leave my life. You are not welcome here. Just lose your grip on me. Set me free. Heaven, hear me now. I want to be free. Free of every pain. Free of every fear. The sadness has a grip on me and it must disappear. I'm letting it wash over me. I'm letting it wash all of me. It must let go of me today. Cover me with your father feathers. Shelter me with your rings. I may cry through the night. I may cry through the night, but my joy will come in the morning. What a beautiful arc of redemption. But yeah, we'll just listen to this. Also, what a tune. One absolute tune. They're bouncing around. They're loving it. They're happy. They're dancing. It's contagious. Her smile and, it's beautiful. But yeah.
Shelter me with your wings. I may cry through the night. I may cry through the night. I may cry through the night. But my joy comes in the morning. To joy. It's been hard for me to fall asleep, building burdens up to kill my dreams. But I know when I'm feeling alone, my spirit gets low. Oh, I know there's someone out there who's been praying for me. Ladies and gentlemen, all sister, absolutely. In your mind, your sorrows may endure, but the light comes with the morning. It's what you're made for. It can't hide. It's supernatural. I may cry through the night, but my joy comes in the morning. Here comes my joy. Here comes my all of my joy. I may cry through the night, but my joy comes in the morning. Here comes my joy, baby. Here comes my joy, baby. All of my joy. All my joy comes in the morning. My joy comes in. Now let me see you clap your hands.
Anyway, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a bit of a different one speaking about music and artists, but you know, it's a good thing, I think, to hold on to and have hope, because not all is lost. You know, there's some great people out there, some great, wholesome, good music, doing a lot of great stuff. Not everything that's new's bad, not everything that, you know, we are in different times, people are different, and that's, you know, there's not everything's good. I'm a conservative bloke. I'm pretty traditional in my views of stuff. However, you know, there's things that I will evolve in, and I'm sure I'll look back on some of my views and be like, you know, I wouldn't have thought that. And I don't think, you know, everything that's new is inherently bad. And, you know, times are changing, and, you know, there's some great things out there. So to any Christians, you know, watching who might be depressed about, you know, some of the culture and where we're at and stuff, just know there's some good stuff out there, some great people doing a lot of great work. And yeah, God bless all of you. I love all of you. I hope anyone took anything from this. Like, subscribe if you did enjoy. It'd be much appreciated. And if you want to follow me on Substack, that'd be amazing. Link below. Yeah, but yeah, God bless every single one of you, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon. Bye bye, everyone.